back to A Pain in the Art. Today we're going to discuss media-based marketing and just social media marketing in general. I have Amy with me.
Amy Morvan. Hello.
Hello.
And do you work in social media marketing? Do you do a lot of it?
No.
Opposite.
Tell us a bit about yourself, Amy.
Yeah, tell us more.
So I'm a dancer, choreographer, performer, and basically I am in this position at the moment where I'm rebranding and looking at myself as a product and how to market myself and what I do through social media and just the obstacles and the strategies that have come up as while exploring this.
For those of you who don't know, Amy and I went to high school together.
Oh, yeah.
So we've actually known each other since we were, 15?
Yeah, 14, 15.
14, 15. And then Amy moved to Sydney, Australia, and then I moved to Sydney, Australia quite soon after her. And then I slept on the floor of her study in Sydney for, I think, about 2 weeks while I was trying to find a flat. And a funny story that you don't know about Amy and I is we both auditioned for Hong Kong Disneyland, and it was the most embarrassing time of my life. Amy did very well, but I royally stuffed up my audition, and I was also the tallest one there.
Yeah,
I was like,
too tall to
we
be
were
Disney
too tall
princesses.
to be Disney princesses. That was about 7 years ago, and I'm still scarred for life. And now we both live here in London, so that's a little bit about Amy and I.
Just keep chasing each other around the world,
I know.
basically.
How long have you been dancing for now?
Well, I've been doing classes, training for 27 years. But if you listen to my mother, I was dancing before I could walk. So yeah.
And so why the shift now onto social media? Why are you starting to think of yourself more as like a product and a brand?
Well, it's sort of something that people, they always say it, you need to be posting more on Instagram, you need to have a presence, you need to have an online presence, because you see it as well when you apply for things, people ask for your Instagram or your Facebook link or Twitter or whatever, even shows that you are in, they want it for marketing purposes, come across it with agents wanting, and they cast you based on your how many Twitter followers you have.
You're looking really disdainful.
Just, yeah, it hurts me. I mean, I had it once for a hostessing job. It was like, are you kidding me? I'm going to be a door person, and you...
Hostessing at what?
Some event, I don't even know, I don't remember what it was, but it was like, you're going to hire people based on how many Facebook followers they have. Seriously, is that how you... And this was 5 years ago now as well, and it's still something that makes me bitter. But I did get, and I've sort of done half-hearted attempts and things, but it wasn't until early this year. I was back in New Zealand, and I was coming back to London and trying to organise, making sure I'd work when I got back and things like this. And I was just dealing with people that were a struggle for me to deal with. Just, they would ask questions that I'd answered in emails. They would, just were giving me the runaround. It was just exhausting. And I was having a wear to my boyfriend, just being like, I'm sick of dealing with these idiots. And he was like, well, you've really got a choice. You have to keep chasing these idiots. There's just idiots in every industry, no matter what you do. Or you have to flip it and be in a position where they're coming to you. And I think there's a bit of arrogance in that. I have been in those positions when I was in New Zealand and in Australia, but I haven't got to that point in the UK yet. And it's just the reality of how it works here is that having your website, having an online presence, that's when people start to approach you. So then the question is how to do that. And this is the other thing that grates with me, because this is something I know is, I'm sure it's the same with most other art forms, performing art forms, but in dance, it's kind of knowing that you need to be posting every day, and there need to be nice, pretty shots of you, preferably in different and interesting locations, not always the same studio.
Not wearing a hell of a lot.
Not wearing many clothes, so we can see how fit you are. And yeah, generally most very ambitious, athletic looking poses and jumps and things like this. I mean, not always, obviously people do post more interesting stuff than that, but like the baseline is this. And the reality of it is that most people are not taking these photos every day. They go out and they'll spend a day shooting and they'll get a bunch of different shots in a bunch of different locations and a bunch of different outfits. And then they have a bank of photos that they can call upon and post. And even if they're honest about it and they say like throwback too, the psyche of it is that you're seeing their image every day and it looks like they're active. And so then it's like tricking your followers or tricking the world into thinking you're working, even if you don't leave your bed for a week. And the thing is that gets me is we know that this is what people do. It's not just in dance. Like I know everybody does this. I've been to restaurants where I've seen people go to the bathroom and get changed and like take a different selfie in a different outfit in this restaurant or a cocktail bar. Like it's mental. And it's like, and we know that people do this. We like, you look at online videos and marketing, like they tell you to do this because but it still works. Like it still is expected and it still works. And I know it. Like even if I see people's photos that I know and I know that they took that photo months ago, or it's still I'm still seeing them every day, so they're still in my head. Yeah.
Why does it grate you so much?
Because it's inauthentic. That's why it grates me.
Do you think
and we know it's inauthentic, which is somehow to me worse.
Do you think that leads on to thought then in going like where is the authenticity of their work reflected? Do you think like this is kind of what annoys you is that you look at them, you know it's inauthentic and you worry that people are seeing it going, this person's a really authentic dancer, and you want to say like no, like is this why it grates you? Because
well, I think why, so there's a double side of this. So there's like my personal feelings about it, like in terms of where the dance industry is going and this separation between commercial and art forms and things like that, which is just my own views. We can get into that in a minute if you want. But
I think it's the same in a lot of creative industries, not just dance, but acting as well, and seeing shots of actors doing things. Yeah, definitely.
But for me personally, it's because me as a person and me as a dancer, I'm not that showy. Look how high my leg goes. Like I'm not going to choreograph something where I put a bunch of tricks and flips in just because. Like I personally don't like things that are done just for the sake of looking cool or because to show off, because to me that's pointless. It's meaningless. Like cool, you can get your leg up by your head, so you should.
So what do you like?
There's more artistry, there's more creativity, there's more craft basically. So you need to be able to do those things, because if that's what the choreography, if that's what the story, if that's what the intention or the emotion requires your body to do, that's why we train to do these things. So backflips and things, you do that but it's not just because also too what happens is with a lot of this choreography ends up being so loud. If you feel like you're being shouted at because people are just doing trick after trick after trick after trick after trick, and it doesn't have any grounding, so it just becomes white noise, and so then people have to keep going harder and faster and further and further. And there's a whole thing of it just being really bad for your body. We're going back to the days where dancers can't dance past the age of 30 anymore because they are destroying their bodies. But also, as audience members, that's not enough to keep an audience. You'll get people in the seats for one show, then they've seen it, and if they're just watching the same thing over and over again, they're going to get bored. And then also, they're not, in my opinion, it's not what art and what theatre is for. Like, you want to give people something new, something creative, something to think about, something to feel. And for me, dance especially communicates to those deeper levels because you're not limited by language. You can get to those greater depths.
So is that why these kinds of social media platforms grate on you? Because it's void of these kinds of, more emotional, creative sides, or the soul that you're talking about. Is it missing in the social media platforms? Is that why you find it very difficult to start getting into like the branding side of things?
I don't think it's missing completely. I do think it's there, but it's not prioritized, it's not valued, and by the people that are pushing you to do social media, like casting agencies and things like this, what they are valuing is your number of followers, and that kind of thing isn't done authentically. There are tricks and there are modes to get followers. It's not because you posted your most genuine photo or your most proud piece of work, like your favorite photo of your favorite work that was your proudest moment as a choreographer, that's not going to get all the likes. The picture of me in a bikini with all the hashtags, that's going to get me more followers.
Yeah, my highest liked photo on Instagram is me in a bikini.
Yeah.
And I have posted photos of doing, the run at the Space and the standing ovation and the sellout night that we had back in February, and it probably got about half those likes. It's an odd hybrid of trying to play the game, but also I don't know, I don't like it either. Yeah. I am very aware that on Instagram particularly, I play the game.
Yeah.
And I started to become aware of this, and I have solely just given over now to it. Because in a way, that social media is a highlight reel. It's showcasing the best aspect of your life. So I don't know. I couldn't tell you why I do it. Yeah. What, stranger validation? Probably. I want people to think I'm cool. I'm getting on a plane in 3 weeks' time. You can bet your ass there's going to be a photo of the shot out the window of the plane. 100%. Why? I don't know. I want people to think that I traveled the world and look at me and I'm making it. The creative side isn't pretty. I don't know why it doesn't, but it doesn't belong there.
Yeah.
There's no point me taking a picture of myself here in my living room rehearsing the new South Africans play. No. Because I look like the way I look right now. I'm wearing gym clothes, my hair's in a bun, I don't have any makeup on. I'm probably wearing my father's jacket right now. I'm wearing socks with a hole in it.
Yeah.
This is what I wear when I rehearse. It's not going to get the likes, but I have that fear of not getting the likes. I mean, Jamil El-Jamil, the actress from The Good Place, is brilliant at social media.
Yeah.
But I follow her a lot. I don't know if you know her.
No, I do know, from The Good Place.
Yeah, she's great. And I love her. And she does a lot of things in bringing awareness to, celebrities doing ads and things like that. And she's got a platform called I Weigh.
Yeah.
And it's all talking about things that matter more to her than how much space she takes up in the world and how, what her weight is. Which I think is great. I think is really great. And I think she's bringing a lot of awareness to this kind of nonsense that social media is, the importance that, artists and creatives are now starting to, well, not even artists and creatives, but more the people in the positions of power within the industries are starting to put on social media platforms. But in saying that, she always looks great.
Yeah.
And she always looks flawless. And I don't know, and we were discussing this before the podcast, and I want you to talk about the women you were talking about, but it doesn't sit well with me.
No.
I don't know, it infuriates me.
Yeah.
I don't have a glam squad. I don't have people dressing me and putting on my makeup. I am here sweating in my living room with my washing hanging up on the line over there, going over the show over and over it and over it and over it. So help me out.
No, but this is the thing. So this is also, I think, where there's this weird double standard, and because a lot of the people I admire and respect aren't on social media, or they don't have a big presence on social media, but they are in a position
like Maria Abramovich.
but even dance companies and things, or they are very specific about what they post. There's comedians like Dylan Moran and things who just outright say they don't bother with it, but then there's also dance companies who post very rarely, or if they do, it's shots on stage. It's and that's great, but they haven't needed social media to get where they are. They existed or managed to go up through more conventional channels, or they found a way to get through without they didn't need the social media to be seen. Whereas I now feel like in a position where it's something I need to get where I want to go. And so there's this question, because there are people like Tracy Ellis Ross. She's brilliant at this. She posts photos of herself without makeup. She talks about her having to deal with her hair and things like this, and what it takes to make her look like she looks on TV. And Shirley she uses the Garbage account, She posts a lot of political opinions as well, and she'll post she posts fan art, she posts photos of her like from shoots and photos of the band, but also just her with her dog with no makeup on first thing in the morning. But again, these artists, they were around before Instagram was even a thought. So
what do we do then?
This is
as
the thing.
Upcoming grassroots theatre companies and actors and dancers. We look. I've been doing acting professionally since I was 14. I was on Shortland Street when I was 14. Which is, if you don't know, like our general hospital, I suppose, in New Zealand. But we've put in the training. You were at dance school when I was at drama school. You were across the lawn from me. You went to New York when I went to New York. We both trained in New York. We have done the laps. So what do we've got the training, we're good at what we do, so what do people like us do now that people in positions of power within these different creative industries are saying to you it's about your followers?
This is my question, because I also think that this is the problem, like social media and managing social media, managing your Instagram account is a different skill. It's like, as an independent artist, learning to do your accounts. It's something different that you have to learn. You don't learn this at dance school. And so I think it's a different tactic. It's shifting a mentality. Like, I'm learning, although sometimes I still find it a struggle, you know, when I go to rehearsal or I go to training, to remember to take a photo of myself, even if it's just me outside the building afterwards being like, yeah, at Rumbare this morning, woo, you know. I haven't quite managed to get myself to that point yet, and also too, I want to be clear, I'm not criticizing people who do this. I mean, there are so many people who manage this so well, and it's a little bit of envy that I just don't have this in me, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it. I
got my dad to take an Instagram photo.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you see that on my account? I was on the beach, and I was wearing a really nice dress, and I was like this. And I was like, this is it. This is the, this is the shot for the gram. Got to do it for the gram. Get the likes up. And my dad was like, look at the camera. And I was like, no, Dad, it's for Instagram. I'm not going to look at the camera. I spent 20 minutes then in the car with my parents trying to explain to them what Instagram was. And it was so funny. And Mum was like, well, can your father have Instagram? I'm like, yeah, Dad, you can just get an account. Just sign up. And he's like, oh, but then how do I tell people that I'm on Instagram? Well, Dad, you just got to... You're going to just start posting photos and start liking people and start following people. And they just couldn't get their heads around it.
I had this with my dad because I was back home when I started having all of this, and I was trying to talk about it with my dad. And he's like the conspiracy theory fear. Like, he's like, I Googled you and all these photos, there were photos from when you were a baby that came up. I was like, yeah, because my sister put them on Instagram and tagged me. So yeah, they will. That's how it works. And he was just like, but you don't have control once, and and you just see him getting stressed and anxious because he's just so worried about all of that. Once it's out there, and I'm like, yeah, well, I do my best to manage these things, but this is also part of it. Is
it like you're selling your soul? And this comes down back again to what you were saying about the social media platforms not having this essence of soul, and the soul isn't always pretty. The rehearsals aren't always pretty, so I feel at a loss, because this is something that it really...
answer. This is the problem with this discussion today. I don't have a resolve. I'm sorry.
Do you hire somebody to do it for you? But in even doing that, I feel like I'm losing a part of myself. If I'm playing the game, and what I mean by the game is the social media game of, look, I'm on a plane. Look, I'm in a new country. Look, I'm flying again. Look, I sold out my show. Look at me. I got my hair done. I feel in control of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm projecting the kind of image that I want people to see with me. But when it comes to my work and the theatre that I write and the theatre that I create, I have always gone against the aesthetic.
Yeah.
This is why I wrote The South Africans, which is a show about my parents. I play a 65 heterosexual couple. When I'm cast in things, I am cast as the pretty blonde. Yeah. I'm cast as the motorbike riding rebel. I'm cast as the sexy lawyer. I'm cast as the attractive army officer. Because I'm a hard bitch, I get cast in those villainous kind of hard roles. But I'm the brief always is attractive. I'm not immune to my aesthetic. But I don't create theatre. I always wanted to play against my aesthetic. And I know that you're the same because you're also very pretty and very attractive and you're blonde and blue-eyed. You were blue-haired once. Blue-eyed. But it is that thing of, I don't know how to hybrid what I do and the theatre that I create and the things I want to achieve within the work that I create and marry that to the aesthetic that I portray on social media. I haven't quite found a hybrid. And if you go and look at the South Africans Instagram page, which is the name of the show, the South Africans, you'll see that all of the stuff in the lead up to the announcement of the Afreakin Family and our Edinburgh run this year, it's nothing about what is being posted there is aesthetically pleasing for me. It's all background shots. There are shots where I've got a double chin and I look ridiculous, and there are boomerangs on there of where I look kind of mad, switching between characters. It's all in the name of work.
But is this a thing? Like you said, that's a separate account. So is that something we need to do? But then, oh my gosh, then, because this was something we discussed as well, of personal versus social, because I was talking about with Facebook, like a big reason I have Facebook is for jobs, because so many jobs are posted on there, but also, traveling the world, you have contacts, and it's an easy way to keep contacts. But my boyfriend was saying he is hyper aware that he posts stuff constantly, and he knows it's going to annoy his nearest and dearest, but they just kind of have to suck it up because people in his industry also have him on Facebook, and they're the people he wants to see that he's always working, building a guitar, doing this. Look at this thing I can do now. That is a job that I can do for you. And so he uses it, and he's very conscious that it's good. Whereas, I haven't quite got to that not caring point yet of pissing off friends and family. And so I sort of try and do Instagram as one and Facebook as another, but then that runs into its own problems. But multiple accounts, which just seems excessive. Or also too, like, you have a show that you can do that with, but until you have a show ready to, like, when you're starting something new,
when you're as an actress, what do you... the show, if I didn't have the two shows... I mean, the two shows are on the one account, so we're posting for both of them.
True.
But even doing... Leela, who's sitting here is producing the show, suggested a podcast.
Yeah.
We can't disclose what we're doing right now. Why are we doing this? We're doing this to say... Well, listen to us. We are doing this show. Look what we can do. We are artists, But it's so... It's odd to me. And I'll tell you a story. I have another producer on board who's young. She's in her early 20s. And we actually talked about social media when we sat down. And she said, I went through your social media accounts. And we've had our Facebook and our Instagram and our Twitter running since 2016. And numbers have really not ever been a priority for me. I'm talking about something independent now as the show, as opposed to me as an actor trying to manage social media. But, numbers for the shows have never been a priority. I've never really wanted to get the numbers up. On Twitter, I really don't even understand Twitter. I don't go on it. I have it, but I don't use it. I'll only use it if I get reviewed, and then I use it to tweet the reviews that we get. But she said, I looked at your social media and it really needs work. And I thought, oh my God, well, Ziamara, who was on another podcast here, she's been a producer with the show since 2016. And we do social media together. And we've always just posted stuff that made us laugh. We would Photoshop Gordon and Helene into odd situations with the Queen to promote our new show coming up. We just do ridiculous stuff. And to hear her say, oh, you really need to look at your social media, it actually put the fear of God into me. Because I felt so out of my element. And she's talking about, us in our young 20s, we look at a crisp bowl and we take a photo of a crisp bowl and we put it with a filter on and we do an angle on it, and people like that kind of stuff. And I love that you're reacting in an overly dramatic way, because that's how I reacted. Everybody else at the team meeting seemed like in agreement with this. It was complete news to me. And I feel like social media, me being now, I'm about to turn 32. How old are you?
Same. 31 now.
31. I feel left behind.
Yeah.
I feel completely... Listening to her talk about a crisp bowl and a filter and people like that, and it's about the hashtags, I thought to myself, if I saw a goddamn crisp bowl with a filter, I would block that person.
Yeah.
It's the last thing I want to see. I don't care.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that was the thing that got to me, is listening to her talk. She's got a valid point. I understand. But in my old age, I was like, I don't care.
No.
And this is where the idea of excessive accounts comes from, or multiple accounts. I actually don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. And I feel like if I'm going to miss out on a role because I don't have enough followers, I don't care.
Yeah.
Don't give me the role.
Don't want that
Put
role.
me in the room. Let me show you what I can do.
This
Let me
is the
show
thing.
you my training,
It's
or come and
getting
see
in
the
the
show.
room.
But I don't give a damn enough
Yeah.
to take a photo of a crisp ball.
No.
I couldn't,
this is definitely-
I couldn't
no.
fathom it.
I think it's there's a comedian, James Veitch. He does this great
He's brilliant.
thing
Oh, he's so good.
where
Isn't
he
he?
talks
It's brilliant.
about like people writing ridiculous blurbs and hashtags to go with. It's like, mate, it's a selfie of you on a
Leave
beach.
Gandhi
Like,
out of this.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with Gandhi. And I saw this actually this morning. A friend of mine, like, it was a beautiful photo, and I went to like it. Then I read the caption, and I was like, can't do it.
What was the caption?
I can't remember.
Oh.
I don't want to like misquote him, but it was just so like airy fairy spiritual, and the picture had nothing to do with that. Like, it was a beautiful image of his form, but it was his form. Like, it was just his body making a shape, and it wasn't even that. This sounds super judgy, and I'm aware of that. It wasn't even that, you know, he was talking about what inspired him to make that. It wasn't. It was just too completely disconnected. Like, he starts going on about the journey and da da da. I'm like, no, like, it just, and that isn't me. It's me. It's this old age. It's this like just aversion to it. Going, no, it's too much. It's too bullshit. It's too.
I just wonder if it's this pursuit of honesty.
Oh,
Do you know, like, I wonder if that's where it comes from, because I
think
know you talk about the soul of the dance industry, and you talk about the soul of people who are working, and having trained in Meisner, I mean, God, I talked about Meisner before, but for me, it's all about being completely honest. The minute you start pretending, the minute you start acting, the minute you start pushing, for me, I've got 6 years of training of this underneath my belt. I immediately go, no. It's all about the impulse. It's all about the instinct. It's all about the honesty. So I wonder if social media for creatives or artists who want to just be very honest, how the hell do you do it?
Because it's I mean, because this is like you say, for me, it reflects back into the industry, and I think this is where it hurts me, and just I get all wound up and called a snob. But like, I saw a performance this week, and it was beautiful in terms of the aesthetic was lovely. The lines were lovely. They danced it well. Like, technically, they were brilliant, but it was the bits that they thought they were supposed to be dramatic in. So one of them was a piece. I know it's an existing work, and they restaged it. It was too much. They were showing what they were supposed to be feeling, and you saw the suffering and you saw the angst, and it's like, no, at that point you're just scared. Just be scared. Like, just run around because you're scared. You're not trying to show me how desperate you are. You're just fucking scared, so you run away. Like, it's that fine line, but it's the honesty. It's that difference of showing versus just doing it.
Just being. But unfortunately, when you're just being, you don't get the likes.
But exactly. So this is what I mean. I'm worried that this is what happens with these younger dancers coming up and actors and everything. That because what they see is the social media that they're taught is what's right on social media and the showing, that transpires into how they work and how they perform. And so then this is why I think there's no place for how we work and how we perform. And also too, I mean, to be honest, yeah, like we said, there's just the honesty of, I'm working, I forget to take a photo. Like, or you know, I'm not going to take a half an hour to make myself look pretty so it looks decent in the photo. I need to work. I paid for that studio space.
Do you think there is a place to get where, you said before, you know, you've got to use it in order to get where you want to go? Do you think you can get where you want to go without it?
Potentially. I just think it would take a lot longer. And this is the thing, it's a lot of this is me trying to figure out how to navigate London. Like, being in the UK, trying to get work, not having gone through a UK institution, just is hard. It just takes a long time, and people need to know you, and one way for them to know you is being online.
Yeah.
They can judge you really quickly and easily and know what you're about. But then there's that thing like you say, you need to know what you're about. You need to know the image you're trying to present. So that's another side of it, I guess.
Just to quickly interject,
Yeah.
don't you think, at least to me, I always find there's an element of falseness when people are like, oh, just no makeup, or oh, just me and my dog, because I'm like, no, you're doing that to be different. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're doing that to be like, hey, not all of us are like this. So that when you do post like a photo of you looking glamorous and gorgeous, or doing something amazing, it kind of like
cancels it out.
Yeah, that's what I think. And I'm like, but is that really first thing in the morning?
Yeah.
Is it really like, or did you get up? Like, just the act of getting up in the morning and taking a picture of yourself, like, I don't know, like.
That is my worst nightmare. Oh my God,
but that in itself seems disingenuous, right?
Like,
why would you think that's the first thing you're going to do?
Honest, and it is, like, you know, you've got nothing on your face. I guess well done. Like, I don't know. I don't think you should be congratulated for that. Just look how your happiest looking, and that's fine. And like, I don't know, to me that seems like a very sort of disingenuous act to be like, I'm going to take a picture of me just relaxing. It's like, if you're just relaxing, taking a photo is the last thing that's on your mind.
This is the thing, and this is where I think, I'm going to say her name wrong, I think Lena Headey?
Yeah, she's from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
She's Cersei.
Yeah, so she does it really well, and I believe her, because quite often the situations she's taking photos in are things that she wants to draw attention to, like you mentioned, like she'll, her different activists, oh my gosh, words aren't coming out, her different projects and things that she does, when she is on set behind the scenes and things like that, I believe her, because also too what happens is she gets a lot of shade for that. So, and
from who?
People,
what do they say?
Men, and especially, but they just say like, we don't want to see your face like this, and she gets all kinds of really awful trolling and comments about it. And so the fact that she's willing to do that and she does take that heat, I think, for me, proves she's genuine.
Yeah.
But you're right. But a lot of these people, it's sort of like in a contrast. Or they'll angle it in a way like so that they're asking for you to be like, oh, babes, you're still beautiful without makeup. Look at
Fishing.
you. Oh my gosh, fishing. That's the word.
Back in the day when social media just became a thing. I remember you were at dance school and I was at drama school when Facebook first started becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And now the modern day phishing of what you're describing and wanting people to comment and be like, no, you're still amazing, was our version of like a mysterious status of Facebook back in the day of like feeling emotional. And then you'd write something like, I know everything happens for a reason, but it's just so hard. It's like
that person like inbox me, babe. And you're
no, it's okay, I'm fine. And then everyone's like, are you all right? What's wrong? Hope everything's good. Sending love your way. Like that was the 2007 version of the same thing. It's just, it's so multi-layered. Yeah. And it's so odd to sit and talk about it. Yeah. Because I am guilty of it. Yeah. Yet I own it because I am in control of it. And I'm not paying anybody to come in and manage my social media. I know it's a highlight reel. I couldn't tell you why. It's probably a very deep buried insecurity. Probably wanting to like show up to my old like high school bullies or my old ex-boyfriends that like, look at me guys, I'm fine. Yeah, I am good. I'm on a plane and I am okay. Like it's probably that. There's a serious self-examination that needs to happen personally, but when it comes to professionally, it is honestly like what's that painting of all the staircases? They go up and down. Who?
MC Escher.
Escher, yeah. That painting is honestly how I feel when it comes to trying to be professional on social media. It is like so many which ways and avenues, and I don't know how to do it without feeling like I'm selling a part of my soul or I am being completely disingenuous. And at this stage of the game, I feel like when it comes to work, I would rather try and be as honest as possible. In saying that, I know I'm not as honest as possible. I know I still want to get the likes. I do. Yeah. But and again, here comes the self-examination. Why? Why do I want that? I couldn't tell you. Why? Because I want to feel good about myself. Probably.
Well, it's funny because since I've started sort of pushing mine a little bit, I have been, before I didn't even look at who liked what I put or how many likes I got, and I have started looking now, not just like how many, but
And-
more like who's liking, and if I have new people like that
And how does
even
it make
aren't
you
necessarily
How does it make you feel?
doesn't necessarily make me feel. I don't know how it makes me feel, but I have also had started to have the thing happen where two things. One, I've had a couple of colleagues reach out to me recently, sort of going, "Hey, seeing from your social media, you seem to be in a really productive stage at the moment, or it seems that you seem to be in this really great place of growth," or different comments like this. I've had this happen a couple of times in the last month or so.
From people you know?
Yeah, people I know.
Oh, okay.
Have worked with before and sort of are reaching out because they either coming to London and want to catch up, or just I don't know. But also I've had that thing, a bit more like, "Hey, we really like your look. Inbox me," and then inbox these people, and they'll reach out to you about brand representation. Or something. But there's also something also weird, and that's like, why do I have to message, like, because you liked my thing, I then have to message this company about what? I don't get that. And so then there's this whole other thing coming up of it. I still somehow am being approached, but still chasing. What?
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
So that's another thing.
I feel like this is one of these podcasts that, like, if I was listening to interdependently and I wasn't in it, I would be listening going, like, this is how you do it. Do you know what I mean? I feel like listening to you and hearing myself talk, I feel like I know, I like, listening to you, I'm like, yeah, I know, man, but, like, leave those people alone, because they're just trying to get your money and blah, blah, blah. Like, I can hear myself saying that, but I feel like when I'm talking about it, I can't give myself any, like, clear advice.
Yeah, because we're in it, we're chatting, if we listen back, we'll go, there we go.
This is what I should do.
The answers are in there.
Yeah.
We just don't have that objectivity.
No, I don't. It boggles my mind. I'm still floored by this whole crisp bowl thing. I still just don't understand. And this is what just, again, it makes me feel like I said to you, I feel like I've got left behind. It's that thing of, again, like people reaching out to you and you still feel like you're chasing. I feel like social media is just that void. You can keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and I feel like it's just a moving goalpost. You're never really going to be doing it right, are you?
No, I don't think so, because like you say, it's changing and moving all the time.
Maybe it's just like art. Maybe it's just like art.
Oh, that hurts me.
It does hurt me, but hear me out.
Comparing Instagram
to art. Well, just listen to me, because it's kind of one of those things of, you're talking about the Game of Thrones actress who is getting shade because she posts about things that matter to her. You talk about, posting yourself in a bikini and offending your nearest and dearest. You talk about posting stuff on, I don't know, I talk about posting stuff on the social media of the South Africans, and I've got double chins, and I hate the way I look. Maybe it's just this thing of you are never going to please everyone.
Well, no.
And it's like art. Because if you create a painting, or you create a picture, or you create something, not everybody is going to like it.
Okay. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the most important thing is really you creating something that you like. And as long as it's coming from an honest place and not a place of, like I was kind of saying about deep set insecurities, and as long as you feel like there's kind of an authentic essence to what you are creating, because post by post by post you are creating a social media platform.
Exactly.
As long as you're happy with it and you're expressing what you want to express, maybe that's the most important thing, and maybe that's how you negate this, is really just being as honest as you can be, and doing what makes you feel satisfied and you can live with yourself.
Yeah. It's interesting because this is sort of the negotiation that I've been having with myself most recently, is finding that balance where I'm posting the kind of photos that are deemed acceptable by the social media managers and people who are giving me advice on these things. And yet still I feel have some soul, have an element of my personality, something that I'm happy with presenting to the world as me. Because obviously, like, in reality, you're never going to see all of the aspects of me and who I am as an artist or a human. That's just really hard to do. I would have to be far more self-aware and have a lot more time for these things. But choosing a perspective, choosing an angle, I think is a key point. Like you say, sort of knowing the brand or knowing the logo, the version of yourself you want to put out there, and that then needs to be something that you're comfortable with. But yeah, it's like you said with the South Africans one, where you and Ziamara were just posting really honestly and things that you thought were funny. Similar, like I like having weird funny hashtags. I like having, like, I usually try and have a song lyric, and it's usually the song that I'm listening to as I'm posting, so quite often it'll have nothing to do with the picture, but I think that's funny because to me that's a little bit of my like dig at how redundant and silly I think hashtags are.
Do you think that's the same with your friend who posted the Gandhi quote underneath his form?
No, see, this is the thing. I would like to think that, but I just don't think it's true. But it would make me so happy if that was true.
What happens if people look at your song lyric?
And this is exactly it.
And you're fine with that?
This is exactly it. This is where I don't know. Because, like, I know why I've done it. And it's like, it's the thing you say, like, I genuinely don't care what most people think about most things. Yeah, so you kind of need to not, because you're not going to please everybody. And people are going to think what they want. And I think this is where the little bit of jealousy thing comes back to it. There are some people that just seem to have a knack at knowing how to get themselves across and seen and have it be understood that way.
Yes.
That's a talent.
It is a talent.
I think it's a talent that some people will have, and eventually people who are maybe moving into the arts will be taught, perhaps.
Yeah. And then us oldies just have to figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll keep posting photoshopped images of me with the Queen.
Yeah.
Which we love.
Yeah, I loved it.
Well, ironically, I think, are there any social media links you'd like to say, like before the end of the video? You know?
Go on.
No.
You gotta plug yourself. Use it as a good learning
Let's see,
experience.
what is mine?
I'll plug mine.
Go for it.
The South Africans, look, you can find us on Instagram, and it's the South Afreakins with the word freak in the middle. Our Twitter handle is @SouthAfricans, and our Facebook is of the same name, the South Africans. And the South Africans and the South Africans, the Afreakin Family, are on the same page. So we're promoting both shows on all the pages. I am Robin Patterson 08. So if you just type in Robin Patterson 08, I'll come up on Instagram and Twitter and
We'll clarify
everything.
it's Patterson with one T.
Oh yes, and Robin with a Y. Don't be confused. Yeah, you're right. I haven't reached that place yet of where I don't feel like absolutely naff saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like an absolute knob. Go on.
No, because I'm hyper aware I have to spell my last name, and that's just a whole thing.
No, go on.
Yeah, so it's Amy Morvan. I'm the only Amy Morvan in the world, luckily, so you can find me on everything.
Good for you. How do you spell Morvan?
Mauvan, and it's Amy with a Y as well. Yeah.
See, like you feel like you're selling out a bit of your
My
soul.
stomach hurts.
Yeah. I feel sick. It's weird. Anyway.
And to end it with a quote from Gandhi, remember to like and subscribe.